What film were you way too young to watch? Pulp Fiction. I was 11 and didn't understand anything. I was 23 and didn't understand much. Vincent is constantly going to the bathroom because he's a heroin addict and it makes you constipated. Wouldn't that mean going to the bathroom less? Yeah, I was going to say you don't just to sit there when you've been doing thousands of dollars of high-quality heroin. You wait until you know it's been too long and take way too many suppositories, then crap out a giant redwood if you're lucky. If not, you strain till you bleed, then you get a doctor to surgically remove that bad boy. Seriously? I never knew that. Also note that every time Vincent goes to the bathroom, bad things happen. Ooh, wow, I never put that together until now. It's a good thing I enjoyed it without understanding. After a few watchings I figured out, there's no such thing as linear time. Every guy is a bad guy. I don't know, I'm pretty sure everyone is just not binary good evil. Except for the dudes who kept the gimp locked up. They were evil. I'm 29 and don't know crap about nothing. I love this film. I'm a female, Jules, and I dated a man called Vincent for 5 years. Every Halloween he would beg to dress up as Jules and Vincent from Pulp Fiction. Every year I would point out that it's one thing for a half-Asian man to dress up as John Travolta, it's a whole other dubious and socially dodgy thing for a white girl to go whole hog on trying to look like Samuel L. Jackson. That being said, I do have a bad mother effer wallet and it pains me how many do not get the reference. Oh boy. I remember my parents didn't let me be in the living room one night they were watching it, so I hid and got to see that scene in the shop. Geez. I got a bit traumatized, of course, but now I love this film. Laughing out loud. Watership Down. The movie is much older than me, but I was a child way before the internet was there for everyone to check what kind of movie was. My parents didn't know, obviously, they were just thinking laughing out loud funny rabbits. That crap was tough. Luckily they stopped the VHS pretty soon. Mystic River, way too depressing for a 6-year-old. Caligula. Went with my sister, neither of us were old enough to drive ourselves, so our mom dropped us off at the theater. Isn't that a porn movie? Roger Ebert, Caligula is not good art, it is not good cinema, and it is not good porn. Web link. Requiem for a Dream. Watched it when I was 10, didn't understand anything about it and got traumatized by the downfalls. I saw it when I was 15 and I still think that was too young, also got traumatized. I'm 41 and entirely too much of a weenie to watch that based on the stories I've heard from friends. I'm 42 and saw it when I was in my 20s and I will never ever watch it again as long as I live. I watched that on acid when I was 18, was a terrible idea and I will also never ever watch it again. Yeah, 41 is probably still a bit too young and innocent for Hubert Shelby Jr. to be honest. Who allowed you to watch this movie when you were 10? I watched once when I was 20 and I will never watch it again. Same for Irreversible. My English teacher put on The Grudge in class when I was in S2, so, ~13. My mum was furious and I slept with a nightlight until I was 22. Our PHE, Personal and Health Education, teacher had us watch Trainspotting as part of our anti-drug set of classes, but he'd made his own cut of the movie that basically removed any swearing or graphic scenes. It wasn't very long, and it actually made heroin look pretty sweet. I really don't think he thought the whole thing through. What the ever-loving business? My teachers put on nothing like that. Ha ha. Most of the stand-up specials I watched as a child. Eddie Murphy, Raw. Oi. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Watched it when I was 4. This was before page 13 ratings in the US was a thing. So it was PG. My parents had no idea how bad it would be for a 4-year-old. Had nightmares for months. Kali Ma guy scared the crap out of me. I haven't watched the movie cause it's banned in India. But I think you are talking about Amrish Puri. He was the most iconic villain for a reason. Any movie in 80s/90s, they had to have him as Ray villain. I was 7. The monkey brain scene traumatized me. I saw The Shining. I was 11. My dad showed me Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when I was 5. It went well until my mom came home to me shouting 69 dude at the top of my lungs. Needless to say, he got an earful after that. Laughing my butt off, this is the best one here that I have read. IT, the miniseries from 1990. I was 8. Like any normal kid, I was already scared of clowns, but IT ruined me for sewers, drains, and just about any kind of plumbing for years to come. Still get the heebie-jeebies when I see that clown. So I'm not the only one who has to get out of the bathtub before emptying it? Removing the drain stopper while I was still in was a big nope for years. I had to cover the shower drain with a washcloth for years. I'm not sure why I thought a washcloth would stop whatever IT was, but it seemed like a good idea at the time. You are certainly not alone. Clockwork Orange. I was 9. It raised a lot of questions. First thing that came to mind before I clicked comments. I was real young when I saw the rape scene. I turned it off. The first rape scene or the rape scene? The first scene was when they were cutting her clothes off, right? I exited before it went any further. There's a short rape scene before that when the main group stumbles upon another gang who's in the middle of raping a woman. She runs off and the two gangs fight. I think the rape scene is the one you're referring to most likely. For better or for worse, you saw most of it. I've never managed to get any further than that scene. It always bothers me too much. I saw The Exorcist when I was about 10. My parents were pretty religious, but my mom loves horror movies. I started asking about demon/possession after hearing stuff at Sunday school, and my mom thought it would be educational viewing. Slept with a rosary for a while after that. Jaws. Yes, one of my first two. I was 5, could hardly go in a pool or the ocean for years. Yes, saw it in 2nd grade. Terrified of the ocean and swimming pools for years. Why swimming pools? How the hell do I know? They've got water in a deep end. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. The full implications of the events at Castle Anthrax took a while for me to get. I bet you're gay. No, I'm not. I'm 41 and am still working through that scene on many levels. Naughty Zoot. Terminator 2. I was 7 years old and T-1000 still haunts my dreams. He'll be back. Alien. As an 8-year-old, I just wanted to see a scary movie. Let's just say that I did not sleep much the coming weeks, but this experience also put me on a path of admiring the movie and the whole universe it built and the cinematography. I am not scared anymore, but I still regard it as one of if not the finest sci-fi horror movie of all time. It is 40 years old and it still does not feel dated. I saw the South Park movie when I was like 6 and I didn't understand a damn thing that happened. My brother and I convinced our dad to take us to see this in the theater. The movie we wanted to see was sold out. We just told Dad South Park was a cartoon. My dad damn near passed out laughing when Cartman told that teacher to lick his white balls. Arachnophobia. That crap was a PG. It was intended for effing families. F you. I agree with you. My brothers babysat me and had me watch it with them. When I was 4 or 5. Guess who has arachnophobia? I still look under the lampshade when I turn off any lamp. I'm 37. I saw it when I was 7. Female, 30 years of looking under a lampshade to make sure there isn't a spider. Silence of the Lambs when I was like 12. Nope. Brave Little Toaster and Watership Down. Yeah, a cartoon rabbit film, what could possibly go wrong? When Kirby eats his cord really got to me. I literally wouldn't run the vacuum over its own cord for years after when my ma had me clean. That whole movie is effing heavy. The part where the AC unit goes off about being stuck in the wall and then kills himself always scared me. Or the clown in the tub with the forks. Akira. I remember having nightmares for weeks when Tetsuo's guts burst out from his stomach, and he started scrambling to put them back. I was 10 years old. For me it was when Kaori got crushed by Tetsuo's organs after he began transforming into a giant mass. Kaori is such a tragic character. Nothing good happens to her the entire film. The Devil and Ms. Jones. Found an unlabeled VHS tape in Dad's room, popped it in one night when I was about 12 years old. Yeah, I hadn't even gone through puberty and it definitely set my expectations way too high. When I was in 6th grade, so, 11-ish years old, I asked my parents if they'd rent Clockwork Orange for me. They told me I had to read the book first. So I did. Then they rented the movie for me, and we watched it together. I handled it just fine, but in retrospect 11 is probably too young for that book and movie. Your parents were fine with their 11-year-old watching A Clockwork Orange? As long as I understood the source material and with them present, yes. I'm impressed that an 11-year-old kid was dedicated enough to read that book, with its weird German-English hybrid language. Not to be that guy, but it's a Russian-based language. Gremlins. When I was in kindergarten, I went to a sleepover party where the parents opted to show a gaggle of 5-year-old girls' Death Becomes Her. That was the first time I realized that death is final. I must have cried myself to sleep for months after that. I'm an adult now and I still can't fathom what these parents were thinking. Oh geez. That sucks. My realization that death was final and coming for me at some point was when my grandma was reading me Bible stories when I was 4 or 5. I think it was the Lazarus story. I spent the next 10 years having random panic attacks about my inevitable demise and crying to my mother, inconsolably, I don't want to die. Exorcist at 10 years old. Gave me nightmares for 8 weeks. I refuse to watch it now. 20 years later. Not a film per se, but Michael Jackson's Thriller, which was directed by John Landis. I begged my parents to let me watch it, and they wouldn't. So I begged some more and they caved. Yeah, they were right. Also, despite being a music video, it is inducted into the National Film Registry. Event Horizon. My parents let me watch Coraline at like 5. That was not fun, let me tell you. I had nightmares for months. Also, they let me watch South Park at 11, I think. I was in my early 20s when Coraline came out and it even scared me. Those button eyes. Shiver. RoboCop and Aliens were my favorite movies. When I was 9. Kids. Candyman. Evan scared me for life. American Pie. My mom hates this story, but I love to tell it, especially in front of her. Back when I was a kid, my folks used to love going takey family to the drive-in. It allowed them to see movies without getting a sitter, and I mean, it was kind of cool tuning your radio in to listen to the movie and the whole kicked-back vibe of it. Usually there was a double feature, and they always hoped that we kids would nod off by the second movie. My sister almost always did, but not me. I always watched both of the double movies, even when my folks would prod me. Come on noob, why don't you lay down? Nope, not happening. I saw a bunch of movies that weren't appropriate for my age back then. The promise of tops plastered across a 100-foot screen was enough to make me stay up no matter what. So one week, and I think this was like 1979, maybe 1980, I'm around 8 years old, my folks look up what's playing and the movie doesn't have a rating. No internet back then, no way to really know what's up. So they call the drive-in theater and they ask, I see you have a movie called Mad Max playing as part of your double feature. Is this okay for kids to watch? I can only imagine that some doped up kid got this call, and answered with full sincerity that yes, Mad Max was a fine movie for kids. My folks were psyched. So we get to the movie and watch the first feature, which I have absolutely recollection of. After the first movie out, usual move is to go stand in line at the concession stand and get a snack. I'm pissed because my mom got me a kid-size soda which I down before I get back to the car. I always beg to get a large Coke because the kid size is never enough. I'm old enough now to realize, my folks don't want to take me to the bathroom in the middle of the feature, but at 8 years old I'm just salty that they aren't listening to me. So, Mad Max starts and I'm just laying into my folks about getting me a soda. I'm doing the full court press, whining and pleading. Holding off a few minutes until they think I'm done, and starting again. I mean, I know my folks' buttons and I'm mashing them rabid wombat style. Finally, my exasperated mom says okay. I can have a sip of her soda, but just a sip. I agree, I'm so parched that I'll agree to anything to avoid wasting away in the desert of the back seat. So she hands me her large drive-in Coke. And I take it and I suck down so much soda until my mom clutches it back from me. I knew this was going to be my one shot at a drink, because I already had to crank it up to 11 just to get this sip. Now, what I didn't realize was that when my folks got to the movie, my mom would pour Jack Daniels into her soda, so she could drink while we watched. I was so concerned about downing as much drink as I could, I didn't even realize it was alcoholic. So I'm watching this movie, and to be honest, I think the first 15 minutes or so of Mad Max is kind of slow. It's been a while. But then my little drunk 8-year-old self was shown Australian apocalyptic high-octane demented craziness. Moms are getting run down on the road, dogs are strung up and killed, a guy is told he has to saw through his ankle to avoid being burned to death. I was wide-eyed Alex to large and 8 Clockwork Orange, but no one was forcing my eyes open. My folks tried desperately to get me to lay down and sleep, but seriously, how was I going to be able to look away from a movie like that? I think this story is so funny, but when I tell it in front of my parents, they are so crestfallen. Oh my god, that's hysterical. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.